Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. And today's topic, let me pull up my notes here, is we're going to talk about go-to-market messaging. And we're going to talk about, in today's world, how do you cut through the noise? How do you, and candidly, even more importantly, how do you actually get people to respond? Like right now, most people's go-to-market messaging, I'm sorry to say this, is really generic. And I don't know what it is. It's really interesting. It's like, a lot of sales technologies were invented to help us to do more high quality activities. But the reality is we're just using them to actually just do more bad activities. And so, everything I'm going to give you today around go-to-market messaging, should hopefully help you to focus on, what really matters. How do I cut through the noise? So if you're joining us on Zoom, what's up, everyone on Zoom? What's up, all my friends on LinkedIn as well? Let me go ahead and pull up LinkedIn. There we go. All right. So if you're on LinkedIn or if you're on Zoom, no worries. You can drop your questions into the chat. I will be looking. I'll be watching. Let me try again here. Let's try to pull it out. Okay, cool. All right. What's up, everyone? All right. So a couple quick housekeeping items here. One, if you are not already subscribed, I'm going to send a couple of things here. So get this out of the way here. If you're not getting the Modern Leader newsletter, we've got like 13,000 subscribers now, which is pretty amazing. This session today, and like all of our sessions, is for really organizations and people that want to step up their, call it leadership game. So there you go. There's where you can sign up for the Modern Leader. Also, this week, on Wednesday, I am doing a webinar, a good old-fashioned webinar on Wednesday at 11 Central, I think, 11 or 12. Someone can correct me on that when they click on the link. But we're going to talk, I'm talking with the VP of Sales Development at Orem. If you guys don't know Orem, it's a dialing platform and sequencing platform for making high volume calls. Really cool product. If you don't know it, definitely check it out. And looking forward to that. We're going to talk about how to get in front of people today, similar to kind of the topic that we're kind of getting down with today as well. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about messaging. Okay. And I'm going to talk about what you need to do in 2023 to change, to cut through the noise. Okay. And that actually goes to number one here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this in. So the very first thing that you need to do to cut through, and again, improve your messaging, is cut out the nice to haves. So here you go. I'm going to drop it in chat for all my people on Zoom too. Where are you at, Zoom? Chat. 12 p.m. Central on Wednesday is the webinar. Okay. So number one is cut out the nice to haves. Okay. What do I mean by that? What we see quite a bit is that sales leaders or salespeople tend to latch on to things that they think are interesting or compelling, right? They might like a feature that you have. They might like, I don't know, the way that somebody else describes something. And then what happens is they kind of tend to go back to the same play over and over and over again. So instead of really thinking, hey, for this individual, how do I need to like communicate? What of this is fluff? Yeah, I know there's some, I can't remember the stats off the top of my head, but it's like, best practice, like 5 sentences, 5 to 7 sentences, I think. I can't remember the number of words. It's like written at like a 6th grade level. I know that was certainly one thing that stood out to me, which is like our kind of ideal comprehension level where we like to be. So again, I would really highly suggest is throw out your assumptions of necessarily what you think your customers find value from. That if you've been using the same value prop, the same prop over and over, with everything that's happening in the economy, everything that's happening in the world, what buyers are interested in now is a little bit different. So I really highly encourage all of you to kind of do interviews with customers and just ask them, hey, what's top of mind? What's not top of mind? And again, organizations should be optimizing this stuff in real time, right? All the time we should be optimizing. But for a lot of people, again, they just don't do a very good job of cutting out the noise. So again, if you want to cut through, You have to learn how to cut through the noise. What's actually value to that individual, not just what your product does. So that is my number one most important kind of takeaway for you all as you go into 2023 is cut out the noise. All right. So create messaging for everyone. That's my next one. Here we go. So here's number 2. This is so important. Guys, I think a lot of people, especially as more and more people, oh, I just realized I didn't drop this in the chat correctly. And like I said, if y'all have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm trying to stay on top of that as much as I can. What's going on, everyone? Feel free if you want, if you're on LinkedIn, you're joining us, feel free to drop in where you're joining us from as well too, or if you're on Zoom, you can let me know where you're joining from. Maybe you're in, I don't know, Poland or India or Australia, or somewhere great. I'm in Austin. It's pretty great here too. So number 2 is create messaging for absolutely everyone you might come in contact with. Okay, if you are thinking about your go-to-market message, I cannot tell you how important this is. What I see is there's an over focus on messaging and marketing materials and like the value prop for this specific like decision maker, or, hey, we work with a VP of engineering. And so all of our go-to-market messaging is like the VP. The reality is today, and this number, I mean, the number I remember from Gartner, this is like a few years ago, is something like in every company, like over 200 people, there's like 6 people involved in the buying process. And I can tell you, as budgets have come under more scrutiny, that's only going to become more. It's only going to become more. It's going to be more and more and more people involved. And so if you're go-to-market, if you're messaging, you don't know how to communicate differently between, okay, so these are the end users. So we need to make sure that we've got content, or whenever we're trying to book a meeting with them, we talk about this versus that, versus how we can help the company. Remember, each individual department, this is like, if you're going to screen save something, listen to what I'm about to tell you. Most people care more about themselves and their role first, their department second, and the company third. Okay, rewind that. Okay, themselves and their role. What me? Why do I care? How's this going to make my life easier? Okay, 2, my department. What's this going to do for my department? Is this going to make everyone's life easier? 3, the company. Now, a CEO is obviously different, right? But you got to think about that if your messaging right now is, there you go. See, Michael is joining from Poland, or maybe it's Macau. So thank you. I had it. I don't know. I felt that we had some folks from Poland that joined. So again, just hear me out on this, guys. Like, if your messaging is about how we're going to help your company, most people, that's not what's going to resonate with them. So make sure that you've got go-to-market messaging, okay, that's going to be applicable to each individual person, their role specifically, their department specifically. So instead, again, of this like broad company messaging, here's how we're going to help you, directed toward the VP or C level, you need to have messaging that's directed toward everybody. Okay, I really just cannot stress that enough. Okay, all right. Next, let's talk about this. This is one of my new favorite topics. I'll drop this in the chat for y'all too. Like I said, I am looking at the chat. So if y'all do have some questions here, or you're like, Jake, I don't get it, or no, I disagree, all are valid parts of this. Okay, so number 3. So now what we've talked about is cutting the fat, right? So we're focused on messaging that's not fluffy and, you know, is going to resonate. We've talked about having individual messaging for different people that are involved. Number 3 is, where is the prospect at in their process? Okay, I talk about this concept. I call it cold, educated, and vetted. Okay, cold, hey, you reached out to me. I don't really know what's going on. You're going to then need to get me some level of education and awareness around what this is. So do you have content around that? I did a really great podcast. If you guys don't subscribe, definitely go check out my podcast. It's called The Jake Dunlap Show. It's very, very easy to find. You literally just go to Spotify or Apple and just type in Jake Dunlap Show. And you can go to jakedunlapshow.com, and it will also take you there. But the reason I'm bringing this up is I had Amanda Holmes on the show. I don't think the episode's not live yet. It might go live Thursday or next week. She's the daughter of Chet Holmes. If you guys know Chet Holmes, a legendary marketer, legendary guy. I mean, this guy's worked with everybody. So her and I were talking about this, like this different type of content. Well, you've got these people that are unaware. Well, those are the people we want to talk about global trends. Then you've got the next level down where they're having like a specific like pain or issue. Okay, so that's like, why should I care? And like she's got this kind of marketing funnel. So if you subscribe to the podcast, you'll hear her episode. She'll talk more eloquently about it than I do. But you've got to think about that. So you're going to have different buyer types coming in at different parts of the process. And do you have content or messaging that's relevant? Some people, like for us, for example, we do fractional. Part of our business is we do fractional sales leadership work. So if your company has a whole, like me, maybe missing a sales leader, or you don't need a full-time VP of sales, you need kind of a fractional. We do a lot of that work. And for a lot of people, that's different, right? They're used to doing that for marketing. They're hiring a part-time CMO or part-time marketing, but they're not used to doing that for sales leaders or sales operations roles. And so for that group, we have to focus on content that's very awareness-based, educational. Hey, look, let's talk about the 5 advantages of working with a fractional resource versus hiring full-time or something, right? And then once they get further down the intent funnel, then I need content that helps us to differentiate. That says, hey, when you are ready to work with a fractional resource, here's the 3 things that you need to keep in mind. Don't ever work with one-man shops. They always get too busy. Don't ever do this. And they need to have like experience with sales technology. Oh, that's what makes us different. So now that you're at that level of consideration, now we've talked about the differentiation points, and you're like, yeah, we want to work with Skaled. So again, for everyone out there, I want you to just think about that. That you're going to need different levels of content. If someone's cold, they don't know anything about you or the space, they're educated, they've done some initial research, or maybe they're vetted. And vetted, we'd say, is like they've done research, they've talked to one of your competitors, they've identified budget or return that they need from a purchase, etc. So just think of those buckets that you've got to make sure you've got specific content that's relevant to where the person is in the process. All right, number 4 here. Copy, paste. All right. Number 4 is, does it create or provoke a response? Like some type of, it could be emotion, and the emotion could be, it doesn't have to be, a strong, like, they're going to cry after they read your amazing note type of emotion. It could be simply something like, wow, this person really gets it. It could be a surprise and delight, like, wow, this is awesome. As a part of it. So number 4, if your go-to market messaging does not promote a strong or concrete emotion, you are not going to cut through the noise. We're used to getting the sterile, like, okay, well, welcome to your business. And let me tell you, this is what we do at XYZ. We work with other firms around blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, great. But there's nothing there, as opposed to like, look, Jake, I've talked to 4 people in your consulting group, and the consistent theme I heard was a need for more project management support, because candidly, they're getting burnt out from having to do a lot of manual data entry. I think I can help you. Okay, that's interesting. Now I'm thinking about my consultants, like, God, they're burnt. Oh man, are they getting burnt? Are they really doing this much manual data entry? Crap, like I got to do better here, right? So, again, it doesn't have to go too far, right? You don't want to go too far where you piss somebody off. But I do think that most of your messaging needs to go up 2 or 3 notches from the emotion. What's the emotion? What do you want this person to do or think when they read this? You want them to think like, wow, I didn't know I had that problem. Or yeah, wow, well, this person really gets it. Like I do have that issue. Or, somewhere on that spectrum, right? Of, hey, wow, like this is interesting. Not like, okay, gosh, this is email number 75. I am doing a fun experiment. If y'all are going to follow along with me this week, I am responding to every single cold email. I did a post on this, I guess it's like a week ago, where I answered every single cold call. I've still been doing that. I'll do a part 2 to it. But today, this week, I've decided I'm going to answer every single cold email with just tell me more. That's it. That's all it says. Tell me more. And so I'll do a post about that probably Sunday, and I'll let you all know the results of that. But I can tell you that there's no emotion in these messages. There's no like, and for me on the other end, with 99.8% of the cold emails they get, it's just so vanilla. Like there's nothing there. It's just like, okay, like most of them don't even know what we actually do. They're like, oh, a consulting business or a managed service business or whatever. So again, when you look at your messaging, does it create that emotion for somebody? Does somebody read it and go, hmm, I really have not thought about it like that? Or, you know what? Like, wow, this guy really gets it. Like, he's got a good read on our business. This person might be able to make me smarter. So that is number 4. Okay. So I will do a quick recap for all of you who've been tuned in. I'll do another quick promo here that if you haven't signed up, if you're on LinkedIn and joining us, you haven't signed up for the newsletter, our Modern Leader series, we're taking this to the next level next year. We just hosted our last Modern Leader dinner in Miami last week, which was a lot of fun. I haven't spent time in Miami in a while, so that was a ton of fun. So make sure to subscribe. We are really going to be focused next year on building out this Modern Leader brand. We're going to be launching a YouTube series that's going to be at least weekly. I'd like to make it maybe even daily, to where we're going to talk about all things Modern Leader. We also have coming up on Wednesday. If you've been here from the beginning, you heard, but we've got a Wednesday at 12 Central. We've got 6 outbound tips to break away from the status quo with Taylor O'Brien at Orem. Their team's out there doing some really cool stuff. So sign up for the webinar, join our Modern Leader little community that we're building here, because it's been fun. I'm really excited for where we're going to take this next year and doing even more. All right. Last but certainly not least is alignment between groups. This one's going to make, I think, a lot of people chuckle. They're going to be like, yeah, we suck at that. Or, we're not very good at that, if you don't want to say that you suck. Number 5 is marketing alignment. Okay. So as we think about this here, let me turn that off. Focus time, 1 hour, do not disturb. All right, cool. All right. So last but certainly not least is messaging and alignment. Okay. Consistently, I take that there are companies that are actually doing a pretty good job of this, but just not very many. Marketing is focused on saying a whole bunch of stuff. And again, it's like maybe only focused on like the global trends or product. And there's no alignment with what's actually happening on the sales side. If you think about, if you had 2 people screaming the same message through, 2 megaphones, that's going to help get the message out a lot more than marketing is screaming about this, sales is talking about this thing over here that they think is even more relevant. And so for a lot of you, if you're thinking about, like, again, these are kind of my 5 tips here for your go-to-market messaging. If you're really thinking about how do we get the most out of this? And I can tell you right now, I'm obsessed with this at Skaled, at our company. I am pushing our marketing team and sales team like never before to get aligned on this, because, it's truly a 1 + 1 = 3 scenario, where if you've got sales talking about this thing in the market and they're sharing on LinkedIn, you've got your marketing team talking about specific topics, they're sharing on LinkedIn, it starts to create a little bit of a snowball that over time builds and builds and builds like a snowball going down a hill. And so getting these 2 groups aligned, we did a whole go-to-market day actually here at my house. We had some people fly in, ate some great barbecue, and marketing and sales and our consulting group just talked about, the who we sell to, the how we message to them. And so now our team is just like, let's go. Like, they're fired up, like on the same page, etc. And so if your marketing team is off doing, XYZ and your sales team is doing ABC, it's just a waste, and I think it's something that I've been really focused on in my own company. And I think any organization out there, it's time, it's time for your marketing and sales team to stop the nonsense of like, okay, well, it's okay, marketing is going to do things different, and so stop the nonsense. It doesn't have to be that way, right? It doesn't have to be that marketing is not aligned and sales is going to do their own thing. It can be different. I promise you. Like, I'm seeing it in my own company, and I see it at some of our top clients. So that is number 5. So to recap, everybody, let me give you the 1 through 5 if you're just joining us. Number 1, to increase your effectiveness of go-to-market messaging for 2023, said in layman's term, how to actually generate meetings versus these crappy numbers I'm putting up now. Number 1 is cut out the nice to haves. Most of these emails do not actually have relevant enough information, or it's too much to not make a point, get in, get out, and book a meeting, or just educate. Number 2, create messaging for everyone involved. Not just a lot of marketing and sales teams create a lot of their messaging for the decision maker. The decision maker then decision maker in air quotes, goes to their peers or their people at their team. They say, hey guys, what do you think? What do you think? You guys into it? Should we buy this thing? And if your messaging hasn't been tailored toward the end user and toward IT to get over their fears, you're screwed. So again, just something for you guys to think about, creating messaging for different personas at different parts. And that's number 3, where they're at in the process. Do they need kind of general awareness? Do they need differentiation content? Again, it's like whenever someone asks for a case study, I'm like, sure, but like, why do you need it? Why do you want a case study? Like, what is it that you actually are trying to understand? And then do I have messaging that will like help to alleviate that issue? Number 4, does it invoke emotion? Like I said before, most messaging I get, I can just probably pull one up. Like most messaging I get is generic. It's just like super, super, super generic. And there's no emotion out of it. Just kind of crazy. So, that would be a big one that I would think about for a lot of you. Like, hey, when I read this, it's like, is that person going to be like, wow, like this is okay. Like, wow, I haven't thought about it that way, whatever it is, etc. So, really think about that one. That one to me, I think is a really big one of like, does it invoke emotion? If it doesn't invoke emotion, you're just going to get lost in the shuffle. And then last but not least is the messaging with marketing or marketing and sales talking about the same things. You don't have to be, boring, right? Like we don't have to be boring. Marketing and sales can work together. That's maybe my bonus number 6 tip is like, stop being boring. I saw, Sarah from Gong. Sarah, oh my, why am I blanking on her last name? Brazier. I think it's Sarah Brazier. Sorry, Sarah. I don't know why I just had a mental lapse there. She talked about how some of her emails are just like, they're smart, and they're customized to persona, but they're also funny, and so like, that's a good tactic for her. And it works. So, you don't have to do that. And that's it. Those are my top 5 with the bonus tip of number 6 of don't be boring. The last thing I'll do, I'm going to drop a link here. We did this. This is really clever. Our marketing team did this. We're doing this sales gift box. If you guys are subscribed to Skaled or my newsletter, you probably already got it. But it's pretty cool. Like we created this kind of like package for you of like some of our best, most popular content from the year. So if you're like, hey, Jake, like, I've got an idea around X or Y, like, what best practices, you can literally go and download all this stuff for free. Actually, you know what? I'll talk about this now because we're kind of getting there. In January, we are going to be launching our first self-service platform. Okay. What does that mean? What it means is that, over the course of the last 10 years, Skaled actually turns 10 in January, which is exciting. We've worked with thousands of companies. We've built hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of playbooks, hundreds of go-to-market messages, et cetera. So if you're interested in being on the wait list, so imagine a world where I don't know what we're going to charge, $500 to $800 a month, something like that, where you could literally get access to like every template that we have. Oh, I need to rewrite my discovery call. Boom. I need to, how should I redo my proposal? Boom. What's a good comp plan for my sales team? Boom. Like anything you could want is going to be on this platform. So if you're interested, you can just drop the letter Y in the comments or DM me. And I would be happy to kind of give you guys more insight into it, but it's officially launching in mid-January to help you all with a lot of this. So again, all of you out there, 2023 is going to be an interesting year. You are going to be required to cut through the noise. You are going to be required to change the way that you are doing outbound right now. If you are continuing to do outbound the same way that you did this year and saw no results, and just thinking that doing more of the same bullshit is going to actually get you results, you're delusional and it's never going to happen. And so go back, watch this, and do the exercises that I gave you. Okay. There's literally just these. If you just do these 5 steps, just spend a couple of hours over the holidays, it's going to change your game in 2023. So make sure, subscribe to the podcast, Jake Dunlap Show. You can hear all about that marketing funnel from Amanda Holmes. Make sure to tune in on Wednesday at noon Central. It'll be our last kind of co-webinar of the year. And we're going to talk to folks at Orem about how to get creative and cut through the noise a little bit more and do the things that I just gave you for free. And if you're interested in the templates and things we're doing, just hit me up. So a lot there. Appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great Monday, and we will see you on Wednesday. Take care.